Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. We have here today Sir Darklight in his T29 top tier in a 357. Loaded into Monastery. Is that what it is? Yeah. Oh, dang it. No, it's called Monastery in the files. It's Abbey. See, that's why I'm confused. They name it one thing in the files, they name it another thing in the game, and then they change the names. Come on. Sir Darklight's in his T29. Great setup for him, top tier. And he's driving around, and in, I don't know, why are we in sniper zoom here? These guys are, this is going to happen quite a bit here, Sir Darklight. So, a couple things to think about. Do you have a shot on that guy? No, you don't. Take a look at the mini-map, and then the rest of it is map awareness. Those guys are all up in the middle. There are many, many walls between you and them, and you're not going to get a shot. And you're headed off this way. You're headed off this way. That's where you need to get. So we're going to mess around a little bit here. But it is quite a crowd of light tanks. And then I don't know why we were shooting. We shoot the wall. And the Type 64 is actually the one guy we might possibly have a shot on. And that was not investigated right there. There is a alleyway right through there where he's pushing through, where you can get shots. But pretty quickly you can see that that big cloud of lights and whatnot in the middle has taken a big lead on your team. They've dropped 4 of your tanks. They're about to drop another one. And your initial positioning decision, which I thought was good for a T29, this is a great way to go, is going to change pretty quickly here. Because I think you're going to be down 5. There you go. Down 5-1, 6-1. And things are not looking good. So we've got all these light tanks in the middle. Their T29 is on the other side. Important to know. And you turn back around and head up here. And I thought that was definitely the right decision. You know, here's the thing. Initial positioning decisions are important. Looking at the setup of the map, looking at your team setup, looking at the enemy setup is all important stuff. But then the enemy gets a vote. And they've decided to Zerg rush up the middle for whatever reason. It's working at the moment. They're up 8-3. But you've got to get over there and start having a say about it. So let's talk about how we get in here. We look at the T29. He's over on the other side. No shots there. There we go. IKV dies. And now we're going to mess around with this guy. And this really requires lead fire. You just sort of follow him. So what I mean by that is if he is moving from left to right, you know, if that tank right there, the dead tank, is a tank you're shooting, you need to be already pre-aiming out in front of him so that your shot will intercept where he's going. So we sort of follow him. And then we got this Skoda. And this is a nice shot. We see him. We wait till we zoom in, and boom, down he goes. Good deal. Good deal. Now realize you're a little bit exposed right here. You're kind of... the stupid zoom won't come out because you're in sniper. If anybody comes around that corner, they can hit you. Right now, I would probably back up a little bit and cover up with these rocks. Unless I, no kidding, had shots on these two, which I don't. And then boom, there's the artillery. So they're aware of you being up there. The enemy T29 is busily gobbling up the Dicker Max. So that's it. Things you wish you'd never said. And here comes the ARL. So the ARL is looking at you. He takes a shot at somebody else. You stop. He's got to reload, and you shoot. And then you immediately start to pull back. I thought that was a good idea. Get the front armor to him, and then you go back forward. All right. No. Let's see. Let's get the shot on him. Boom. You take a hit. There we... oh, track, unfortunately. Alright, so as soon as you fired that first time, I just kept backing up. And what you want to do is get hull down. You want to cover up as much of your hull as possible. The further back you move, the better the angle is as far as covering up your hull. And you don't let that guy have a straight shot into your bottom hull. Now he's spamming HE. He did 117. Maybe he does 117 no matter where he hits you. But the best practice here is definitely to be backing up to where just your gun is poking over the ridge. Let me see if I can get this to work here. So that, well, I can't get the zoom to work. I don't have snipers in, but say he was right there, so that all he's seeing is your turret as you're poking over, and right now you're just really exposing yourself. We kind of stop, and you prioritize you prioritize the T29. I would have actually made sure the ARL goes away, because he's a one-shot. I don't know if he might get killed by your Panzer IV-H here in a moment. And you're taking a lot of hits. You prioritize the T29, you put a nice hit on him. Is that ARL still alive or did he die? He must have died. Okay, there he goes. Nice job, and you take down the T-29. You did what I was talking about there. You backed up from him. And really what you want to do is cover up. You want to get back over against those rocks over there as fast as you can. Unfortunately, you are stunned, so that's going to take a little bit to do. All right. So, initial positioning decision was solid. You went where I thought you probably should go. You reacted to the flow of the battle. I thought that was a good decision. You shot generally the right tanks. I probably would have finished off the ARL, but somebody else did. If that's what was in your mind, I don't know who killed him, the T-25 or 2 or whoever it was. That's fine too. You went after the T-29 and you killed him, so no complaints there. I talked a little bit about the maneuver situation there as far as maximizing the hold down or difficulty of the enemy shooting you. But now we're at the decision of, all right, what do I do here? There's 4 of us. The KV-2 is sort of out in the open. There's a scout down there. There's an ELC running around that I haven't seen yet. There's a Hellcat, a couple artillery, and a couple TDs. And it looks like maybe you're going to push down and around and see what you can find. So we head off this way. I'm going to speed this up because it takes you a while to get around here. Not a bad decision. You have enough guys back at the cap to deal with it for the moment. That surprised me. I don't know if that guy was just guessing or what. That was an amazing... It was a long time before you were seen. So he may have just seen you start to move that way and decided to lay one in. Very, very surprising. But it looks like you've got enough guys to handle your cap there. And I'm thinking, well, he's going to go start tearing up the enemy cap. But we come over here and we kind of look at the T-50-2. Not bad. I think he's actually behind a rock. And yeah, see, you have a shot on that guy. Let me see if I can get him highlighted here. Can't quite get him. Maybe you don't have a shot on him right there. Oh, yeah, there it was. Yep. But see that rock right there? That's in the way. So you needed to get in here a little bit before you were going to get that shot. Map awareness. Now you come back here and you're looking through rocks again. All right. This right here, you're never going to find a light on those guys. They're on the other side of this hill. So we look at that for a bit. Looks like we maybe realize it, and then we're driving around. Nope. Maybe don't realize it. We're just looking at this. See that? Now you can see it clearly. And that guy's actually on the other side. So I don't know if you thought he was on the middle road and was going to come out right here and give you a light, but he's actually over on the other side of the Abbey Hill there. There you go. Get you back to what you're doing. So time wasted, right? You were never going to get any of those shots, and your team has it sorted out. Now imagine you had kept trucking towards their cap. Now it is not always a good idea to head off on your own. It is not always a good idea to head off on your own, but you're the big dog right here, and more than likely your team would have really benefited from you pushing back in there and taking these guys out. Now we do find them. That's not a bad deal. That's just a gunnery issue. He was moving from right to left, and you just aimed behind him, but down he goes. That's good. That's good. They got your KV-2, unfortunately. So there's an IKV and an ELC. You've got 2 guys watching the cap, and we're going to sit here for quite a long time, just kind of looking around, zooming in, zooming out, hoping that somebody shows up. Backing up, going, hey, well, that looks like the line where the ELC was. So let's think about this for a minute. You've got a couple guys watching cap. Your biggest problem really is A, being outspotted, and B, getting artied. So we need to remove one of those things. And unfortunately, trying to push in on an ELC is going to get you spotted. And you have to assume that Hellcat is somewhere. I would imagine he's up in the Abbey somewhere. You have to imagine he's somewhere with a shot. So you pushing across the open area to get to the cap and try to find the ELC and kill their eyes is probably not a great idea. Your T-25 and Panzer IV-H are in bushes up there. They're relatively already safe. The T-25/2 is not, but at least they've got eyes on the cap. What I would have done is headed towards the enemy cap. I'm going to speed this up because it just takes a long time. I think you actually even shoot in here, hoping to blind shot the ELC. Yep. And we're waiting. We're just sitting. We're sitting. And more than likely, you could have cleared out there already by now. Once you remove that threat, swing back if you need to, or if you had caused the moss to come to the flame, the rest of the team, you might have been able to kill them over there, which could have given your Panzer IV-H and T-25/2 options. Now the Panzer IV-H moves in. We're going to see what happens. He heads over there. He looks over on that promontory where you should have been. Then he goes around the corner and exposes himself out in the open there. Down goes the 25-2. ELC found him, which is a lot like what would have happened to you. Except it would have taken him one shot and then the arty. And now we got all kinds of trouble. We didn't kill a single one of them, and we lost 2 tanks because we went in 2 different directions. Panzer IV-H and the T-25/2 should have hung out there. You should have headed up to B3. Looked for him through those bushes. If not there, I'd have come all the way back around and come in low, and then look to get some of their artillery out of the equation. 1357 is upset. And then we're just sort of going to hang out here. And now the question I have, okay, fine, we've gone through this whole thing. You notice that somebody got on the cap and came off. That usually means they're doing this. They're coming toward you. There you go. Since you didn't see him, I guess you could have come up the middle, turned left, and headed over to the east. You were spotted, and you're moving forward and exposing yourself to arty. I would have backed around that corner even more, waited till I was dark, and then started moving around. I'm surprised you didn't take any arty fire. That probably means that they're somewhere over here. Or maybe, there you go. See, there's the shot. Just happened to miss you. You need to go somewhere different, because they know you're there. That's your last spotted point. They have to go off that assumption that you're still hanging around that area. I would have turned around and headed back north. You take a small chance that if 2 or 3 of them get on the cap, you can't get back. But at least if you turn around and come back this way, you might find 2 or 3 of them attempting to come up behind you, because that's where they saw you last. And we're just really kind of hanging out here. We're going to speed this thing up. It's a pretty funny sequence here actually coming up, because the IKV comes by. And I don't know if he sees you or what happens. It's going to take a while. We'll speed it up again. No, there he is. So the IKV-103 goes up there. We back up. Stay already safe. I think that was a good decision. We hang out here. We're moving our turret back and forth. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I think you're just trying to keep it ready to swing it either direction. We go forward again. Once the IKV-103 showed up there and I saw him headed up the hill, I'd have turned back around and come around and just killed that guy. He's a one-shot too. Come all the way over here. Poking around. Messing around. I'm not really sure what this is all about. And then, oh, there he comes. And he goes right by. Slams on the brakes. Actually gets a shot into your side. And then you nuke him. That was very strange. Moving along, we avoid artillery. Somehow. Not because we were moving, just because he missed. And I'm going to tell you, you're being very predictable right here. You're not really changing the fight. Once I was dark, I'd have headed back over. I'd have headed back over this way, and then headed up towards him. And now we got a time problem. We're at 3 minutes. There's an artillery right there. We don't quite. I'm not really sure what we're doing here. We don't see him. What's happening? I don't know. Down he goes, and he's behind a rock. At least you know where that guy is. Now we're gonna head up this way. Head up the hill. There's the Hummel. Gets a really ridiculously lucky shot on you, and down he goes. And I would again back up right there, just in case that artillery, which he just drowned, so never mind. And off we go. And the problem now is we push a dead tank. We just need to find this Hellcat. If we're gonna win, now it's a time issue. It's been a time issue for the last 3 minutes. Also, when you push dead tanks, if that player happens to be around, he'll be telling his team that his dead tank is moving. Not a huge chance of that, but it's all these little things that add up together. And my assumption is the Hellcat is AFK, so you basically have probably, you've either had a drawn a draw, however you want to say it, achieved a draw with a AFK tank, or one of the world's worst campers. Either way, a bot potentially. It ends up being a draw. 2,000 damage, 5 kills, some good things. Good initial decision, good reaction to what's happening. Some mechanic issues I talked about on how to fight those guys. And what I saw Past that was a lot of indecision about how to maneuver in the mid to late game and ensure a win. So I talked about multiple times in there. I would have just headed towards their cap. If you just headed resolutely straight to their cap, your 3 guys hanging back at your cap would have immediately understood what's going on, and I think they would have held tight. But because we're all dithering around, then people get impatient and they want to force the issue and try to do some things, and you ended up losing guys who were moving off in separate directions. If you'd have just blitzed straight north and looked for their artillery, they would have probably went, you know what, I know exactly what's happening here. I'm going to hold what I got. Let's see if he can get rid of that artillery. If he causes an issue, maybe it forces the enemy that's hanging around our cap to move and we can see him. You know, all those dynamic things start to happen. But thanks for sending that in there, Sir Darklight. Nice game. Was a bit of a heartbreaker, and we will see you.